That's right, Edith.
Yes, Mum.
Now you'd better go fetch the ice bucket.
Yes, Mum.
Madam Arcati, Mrs. Bradman and I will be having a coffee in here after dinner. Mr. Condomine and Dr. Bradman will be having theirs in the dining room. Is that quite clear?
Yes, Mum.
Now you'd better go fetch the ice.
Yes, Mum.
Not at a run, Edith.
Yes, Mum.
No sign of the advancing hall?
Not yet.
No what?
It's coming.
I shall welcome. The last few days have been extremely agitating.
Oh, that's right, Edith. Just put it down on the bar.
I left my cigarette case on my dressing table, Edith. Would you get it for me?
Oh, yes, sir.
Edith?
Oh, yes, Mum.
A dry martini, I think, don't you?
Yes, darling. You know, I have a feeling that this evening is going to be awful.
It'll probably be funny, but not awful.
You must promise not to catch my eye. If I giggle, and I'm very likely to, it will ruin everything.
You mustn't. You must be dead serious and, if possible, a little intense. We can't hurt the girl's feelings, however funny she is.
But why the Bradmans, darling? I mean, he's as sceptical as we are, and he'll probably say the most dreadful things.
I've warned him. There have to be more than 3 people, and we couldn't have the vicar and his wife because A, they're dreary, and B, they probably wouldn't approve at all. It had to be the Bradmans. Oh, what a sweet thing. Thank you, Edith.
Edith?
Yes, Mum.
Ah, here, try this.
It's so lovely. Nice bone.
To the Unseen.
Oh, I must say, that's a wonderful title.
If this evening's a success, I shall start on the first draft tomorrow. Here, have another.
You sell Elvira to be a help to you. When you were thinking something through, I mean.
Every now and then when she concentrated, but she didn't concentrate very often.
I do wish I'd known her.
I wonder if you'd have liked her.
Oh, I'm sure I should. As you speak of her, she sounds enchanting. Yes, I'm certain I would have liked her because I've never for an instant felt the least bit jealous of her. That's a good sign.
Poor Elvira.
Does it still hurt when you think of her?
No, not really. I sometimes almost wish it did. I feel rather guilty.
I wonder if I'd died before you'd grown tired of me, if you'd forgiven me so soon.
What a horrible thing to say.
I know, I think it's interesting.
Well, to begin with, I haven't forgotten Elvira. I remember her very distinctly indeed. I remember how fascinating she was and how maddening. I remember how badly she played all games and how cross she got when she didn't win. I remember her gay charm when she achieved her own way over something, and her extreme acidity when she didn't. I remember her physical attractiveness, which was tremendous. And I remember her spiritual integrity, which was nil. I remember how morally and piety she was.
Was she more physically attractive than I am?
That was a very tiresome question, dear, and fully deserves the wrong answer.
Well, you really are sweet.
I love you, my love.
Well, I know you do, but nowhere in the wildest stretch of the imagination could it be called the first fine, careless rapture.
Would you like it to be?
Oh, good God, no.
Wasn't that a shade too vehement?
Oh, we're neither of us adolescent, Charles. We've neither of us led exactly prim lives, have we? And we've both been married before. Why, careless rapture at this stage would be incongruous and embarrassing.
I hope I haven't been in any way disappointed, dear.
Oh, don't be idiotic.
After all, your first husband was a great deal older than you, wasn't he? I shouldn't like you to think that you'd missed out all along the line.
There are moments, Charles, when you go too far.
Sigh, darling, as I think I mentioned before. I love you, my love.
Poor Elvira.
Didn't that light comradely kiss mollify you at all?
You're very annoying, you know you are. When I said poor Elvira, it came from the heart. You must have bewildered her so horribly.
Don't I ever bewilder you at all?
Well, never for an instant. I know every trick.
Well, then, all I can say, then, is that we'd better get a divorce immediately.
Oh, but when last time? Yes, darling.
She certainly had a great talent for knitting. It's a pity she died so young.
I wonder if I died, how long it would be before you married again?
You'll die. You're not the dinosaur.
Well, I was Elvira.
Oh, yes, she was. Now that I look back on it, she had a certain ethereal, not quite the sort of quality. Nobody could call you even remotely ethereal.
Nonsense. She was of the earth, earthy.
I was devoted to Elvira. We were married for 5 years. She died. I missed her very much. That was 7 years ago. I have now, with your help, my love, risen above the whole thing.
Admirable, but a tragedy should never darken our lives, I still say, with prophetic foreboding, poor Ruth.
Oh, that's probably the ground.
Well, it might be Madame Arcati.
Shall I go or shall we let Edith have a flick?
Let's wait a moment and see what happens.
Perhaps she didn't hear.
Oh, she's probably on one knee in pre-sprinting position waiting for the cook to open the kitchen door.
Steady, Edith.
Oh, yes, sir.
We're not late, are we? I only got back from the hospital about half an hour ago.
Of course not. Madam Arcati's in here, dear.
Oh,
It's the shuttle bus coming down here, as I thought it was. Oh, well, then she won't be long. I'm so awfully glad you could come. We've been looking so forward to it and terribly excited.
And I guarantee that Violet will be good. I made her promise.
There's no need. I'm absolutely thrilled. You know, I've never seen Madam Arcati in the village, but maybe 2 or 3 times. I mean, she's never done anything peculiar, if you know what I mean.
Madam Martini?
Oh, by all means.
She certainly is a strange woman. It was only a chance remark of the vicar about seeing her up on the knoll on Midsummer Eve, dressed in sort of Indian robes that made me realize that she was a psychic at all. Then I began making inquiries. Apparently she's been a professional in London for years.
Oh, my goodness. It is funny, isn't it? Anyone doing it as a profession.
I understand it's very lucrative.
Do you believe in it, Mrs. Condomine? I mean, do you think there's anything really genuine about it at all?
I'm afraid not, but I do think it's interesting how easily people allow themselves to be deceived.
But she must believe, mustn't she? Or is the whole business a fake?
I suspect the worst. A real professional charlatan. That's what I'm hoping for anyhow. The character I'm planning for my book must be a complete imposter. That's one of the most important factors of the whole story.
Well, just what do you hope to get from her?
Jargon, principally. A few of the tricks of the trade. I haven't been to a seance in years. I want to refresh my memory.
Then it's not entirely new to you.
No.
Do you think she tells fortunes? Oh, I just love having my fortune told.
I expect so. We really all must be serious, you know, and pretend that we believe implicitly, otherwise she won't play.
Also, she might really mind, and it would be cruel to upset her.
But I shall be as good as gold.
Have you ever attended her, Doctor? Professionally, I mean.
Yes, in January she had influenza. I must say, she was singularly unpsychic.
Oh, well, here she is.
She knows, doesn't she, about tonight? You're not going to spring it on her?
Of course not. It was all arranged last week. I told her how profoundly interested I was in anything to do with the occult, and she blossomed like a rose.
I'm sure you feel quite nervous, so I'm about to give a speech.
You go and meet her, darling.
Until the party.
Madam Arcati, how kind of you to come.
My dear Madam Arcati.
I'm afraid I'm rather late.
That's right.
Dr. Bradman. Yes. The magnificent gentle hand.
I'm delighted to see how well you're looking. And this is my wife.
We're old friends. We need to get up shop.
Would you like a cocktail?
Oh, if it's a dry martini, yes. If it's a concoction, no. Experience has taught me to be very wary of concoction.
It is a dry martini.
Oh, how delicious. Thank you. Cheers. Oh, this is the best dry martini I've had for years.
Will you have another?
Oh, certainly. You're a very clever man. Anybody can write books, but it takes an artist to make a dry martini that's dry now.
Dinner is served.
Oh, thank you, Edith. Shall we?
No red meat, I mean.
Well, there's meat, but I don't think it'll be very red. Would you like the cook to make you an egg or something?
Oh, thank you. It's just that I make a rule never to eat red meat before I work. It sometimes has an odd effect.
What sort of thing?
Nothing of the least importance. If it isn't very red, but thank very much. Anyhow, we'll risk it.
Very well. Mrs. Bradman, Madam Arcati, you're on Charles's right.
Thank you.
Have a child as a control.
Oh, yes, they're generally at the best. Particularly when they get to know you and understand your ways. That has worked with me for years.
And she still goes on being a child. I mean, she doesn't show any signs of growing any older.
Oh, time values on the other side are utterly different from ours.
How long since you realized that you had these extraordinary powers?
Oh, when I was quite young. My mother was a medium before me, you know, and so I had every opportunity of starting on the ground floor, as you might say. I had my first trance when I was 4 years old, and my first ectoplasmic manifestation when I was 5 and a half. What an exciting day that was. I shall never forget it. Of course, the manifestation itself was quite small and a very short duration. But for a child of my tender years, it was most gratifying.
Your mother must have been so pleased.
She was.
Oh, I'd like you to leave the dining room just as it is for tonight. If you can clear the table in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not to be disturbed for the next hour or so for any reason whatsoever.
Yes.
If anyone should call, just say we're out and take a message.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. An interruption during the preliminary stages might be disastrous.
Oh, I do wish the meal would hurry up. I really feel terribly excited.
Please, Sophie, it makes everything much more.
Well, Madame Arcati, the time is drawing near.
Who knows, it may be receding.
Ah, how very true. Is there anything that you'd like us to do?
You?
Yes. Hold hands or anything.
Oh, all that will come later. First, a few deep, deep breaths.
Violet?
You ain't talking to me, she will not disturb me in the least. No moon. That's all that I think. There's a mist rising from the marshes. A good table.
Yes, we thought that one would do.
Oh, this is the moment, child.
Are you nervous?
When I was a girl, I used to be very sick.
How wonderful that you all carried it.
Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have but brown bread and butter? I despise it because it doesn't rhyme at all. But Daphne loves it.
Daphne? Who's Daphne?
Daphne is Madame Arcati's control. She's a little girl.
Oh, yes.
How old is she?
Rising 7 when she died.
And when was that?
February the 6th, 1884.
Poor little thing.
She should be rather long in the tooth by now, I should think.
You should think, Dr. Bradman, but I fear that you don't. At least, not profoundly
Do
enough.
be quiet, George. You'll put Madame Arcati off.
It's all right, my dear. I'm quite used to skeptics. They generally like to learn to be the most vulnerable and receptive in the long run. We will sit round the table, please, and place your hands downwards on it.
Mrs. Bradman.
What about the lights?
All in good time, Mr. Condomine. Sit down, please.
You are Dr. Bert. You make yourself comfortable here.
This is so exciting, really.
No meetings this evening. So glad you're here. I'm Dr. Bradman. Yes. It's a pleasure.
Fingers should be touching? Yes. I presume that is the gramophone, Mr. Condomine.
Yes, would you like me to start it? It's an electric one.
Oh, please stay where you are. I can manage. Let me see what have we here. Oh, Brahms. Oh dear. Rachmaninoff. Too florid. Where is the dance music?
Oh, they're the loose ones on the left.
Oh, I see.
I'm afraid none of them very new.
I'm afraid Daphne is more attached to Irving Berlin than anybody else. She likes a tune that she can hum. Oh, here's one. Always.
Always.
Charles, what's the matter? Do sit down.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
The light switch is by the door?
Yes.
Very well.
Charles, keep still. Fingers touching. George, remember what Madame Arcati says.
Yes.
Now, there are 1 or 2 things that I should like to explain, so we will all listen attentively.
Of course.
Presently, when the music begins, I shall turn out the lights. I shall then walk about the room for a little, or lie down. In due course, I shall draw up a stool and join you at the table. I shall place myself between you and your wife, Mr. Condomine, and rest my hands lightly upon both of yours. I must ask you not to move me, or address me, or do anything in the least bit distracting. Is that quite clear?
Perfectly.
Of course, I cannot guarantee that anything will happen at all. Daphne may be unavailable. On the other hand, a great many things might occur. One of you might have an emanation. Or we might contact a poltergeist, which would be extremely destructive.
In what way destructive?
They know things, you know.
No, I didn't know.
But we must cross that bridge when we come to it, mustn't we?
Certainly, by all means.
You don't think it would be a good idea to take more breakable items off the bookcase before we start, do you?
That really is not necessary, Mrs. Condomine.
I'm so glad.
Now, are you ready to empty your mind? Concentrate on a clear space or nondescript color. That's really the best way. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Now then, is there anyone there? Oh, shh. Is that you, Daphne? Is there anyone there who wishes to speak to anyone here? Good. You say there is someone there who wishes to speak to someone here? Is it me? Is it Dr. Bradman? Is it Mrs. Bradman? Is it Mrs. Condomine? Stop it, behave yourself. Is it Mr. Condomine? There is someone who wishes to speak to you, Mr. Condomine.
Tell them to leave a message.
Do you know anyone who has passed over recently?
Not recently, except my cousin in the civil service, but he wouldn't be likely to want to communicate with me. We haven't spoken for years.
Are you Mr. Condomine's cousin in the civil service? I'm afraid we've drawn a blank. Can't you think of anyone else? Rack your brains.
It might be old Mrs. Plummet, you know. She died on Whit Monday.
I can't imagine why old Mrs. Plummet should wish to talk to me.
Well, it's worth a try anyhow.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet?
Oh, she was very deaf. Perhaps you'd better shout.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet? I'm afraid there's no one there.
Oh, how disappointing, just as we were getting on so nicely.
Oh, do be quiet.
I'm afraid that there is nothing for it but for me to go into a trance. I had hoped to avoid it because it is so exhausting. But what must be, must be. Excuse me for a moment while I turn on the gramophone again.
Not always. Don't play always.
Why ever not, Charles? Don't be absurd.
I'm afraid I must.
I'll be loving you always with a love that's true. Always. When the things you plan
Little Tommy Tucker standing for his supper. What shall we have but brown bread and butter?
That would be Daphne. She should have had her advert. Good God!
Oh, what is the trouble? Oh, my God, hold it down. Press down hard. The chair fell. I want you to pick it up and leave it where it is.
Leave it where it is.
Who said that?
Who said what?
Somebody said leave it where it is.
Oh, nonsense.
I heard it distinctly.
Well, no one else did they?
I heard a sound.
It was you, Ruth. You're playing tricks.
I'm not. I haven't uttered.
Good evening, Charles.
Ventriloquism. That's what it is. Ventriloquism.
What is the matter with you?
You must have heard that. One of you must have heard that.
Heard what?
Do you mean to sit there solemnly and tell me that none of you heard anything at all?
I never heard a sound. I would love to hear something.
It's you who are playing tricks, Charles. You're acting to try to frighten us.
I'm not. I swear I'm not.
It's difficult to think of what to say after 7 years. But I suppose good evening is as good as anything else.
Who are you?
Well, Elvira, of course.
I can't bear this for another minute. Get up, everybody.
Oh, Charles, how
Entertainment's over.
tiresome of you. Just as we were beginning to enjoy ourselves.
Never again. That's all I can say. Never, never again. As long
What
as I
is
live.
the matter with you?
Nothing's the matter with me. I'm just sick of the whole business, that's all.
You heard something that we didn't hear, really?
Of course not. I was only pretending.
Well, I knew you were.
Oh, dear little man, Arcati.
Oh, what shall we do with
Bring her around as soon as possible. Oh, God. Bring her around. It's dangerous to leave her like
I
this.
think we'd better leave her alone.
Wake up, Madam Arcati. It's time to go
Yes, all right.
Really, Charles, you'll be
Get some brandy.
really.
Give us some brandy. Lift her onto the sofa. Help me, Bradman. Oh, dear lady. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, dear lady. Oh. Wake up, Madam Arcati. Little Tommy Tucker. Madam Arcati.
Here's the brandy.
Oh, Jesus. Here, love. Just a little one.
Oh, she's coming around. Look, she's coming around.
Are you all right?
Certainly I have never felt better in my life.
Would you like some more brandy?
Lots of them taste in my mouth. Well, really fancy allowing you to give me brandy, Doctor. Dr. Bradman. You should have known better. Brandy on top of a trance might have been catastrophic. Oh, take it away, please. I probably shan't sleep away tonight, please.
I know, I shan't.
Why not, Charles?
Your experience has unhinged me.
Oh, what happened? Was it satisfactory?
Nothing much happened after you went off, Madam Arcati.
Something happened, all right. Oh, yes, I can feel it. No poltergeist at any rate, that's a good thing. Any apparitions?
Not a thing.
Ectoplasm?
Well, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I don't think so.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I feel as though something tremendous has taken place.
Well, Charles pretended that he had heard a voice in order to frighten us.
It was only a joke.
Oh, very poor one, if I may say so. Nevertheless, I am prepared to swear that there is someone else psychic in this room apart from myself.
I don't really see how there can be, Madam Arcati.
Oh, I do hope I haven't gone and released something. However, we are bound to find out within a day or two. If you see any manifestations or you hear any unexpected noises, you might let me know at once.
Oh, we shall. Telephone immediately.
I think I really must be on my way now.
Oh, wouldn't you like anything before you go?
Oh, no, thank you. Good night.
Well, it was awfully kind of you to come all this way.
So sorry I so little and come. We must try again some other.
Well, that would be lovely.
Good night, Mrs. Bradman.
I got the tea absolutely shaking under my hands.
Good night, Doctor. Good night, everyone.
Congratulations, Madam Arcati.
So much nice to hear you.
I can't help laughing holding this in my hand.
She said you'd watch on you playing George and serve you right.
She's mad, of course, mad as a hatter.
She must believe it, mustn't she?
Oh, of course not. The whole thing's a put-up job. I must say, though, she shoots a more original line than they generally do.
I should think she's probably half convinced herself by now.
Possibly. The trance was genuine enough, but that's easily enough accounted for.
Hysteria.
Yes, hysteria of a type.
I do hope no one had that all the atmosphere that he wanted for his book, Mrs. Condomine.
He might have gotten a good deal more if he hadn't spoilt everything by showing off. I was really very cross with him. Oh, goodness. Is there a draught? Are the windows open?
No, they're closed.
Maybe it was one of those what-you-may-call-us that Madame Arcati was talking about.
Poltergeist.
Yes.
Oh, no, she distinctly said it was the wrong time of year. The poltergeist.
Oh, no, I wish I had it.
Well, she's gone down the drive at one hell of speed. I've got a theory about her, you know. I believe that she is completely sincere.
Oh, Charles, how can she be?
Wouldn't it be possible, Doctor, some form of self-hypnotism?
No, it could be. As I was just explaining to your wife, Doctor, there are several types of hysterical personality.
George, dear, we really have to be getting home. It's getting quite late. You do have to get up rather early in the morning.
You see, the moment I start talking about something that I'm interested in, my dear wife interrupts me.
Oh, you know I'm right, darling. It's past 11.
I shall look the whole thing up sometime tomorrow, just for the fun of it.
You must have a drink before you go.
No, Violet is quite right. I have to get up abominably early in the morning. I have a patient being operated on the cat there.
Yes, it's been a brilliant evening. I shall never forget it.
Good night, Mrs. Condomine. Thank you very much.
You're sure about the drink?
Oh, quite sure. Thank you.
I'll let you know if I find any poltergeists swirling about.
If you didn't, I would never forget you.
Good night. Good night. Well, darling,
Well,
you said the evening had been profitable.
yes, I suppose so.
I certainly must say it was funny at moments.
Yes, it certainly was.
Are you feeling all right? Is something the matter?
The matter?
Yes, you seem odd somehow. Are you feeling quite all right?
Perfectly. I think I'll have a little more brandy. Would you like some?
Oh, no, thank you, darling.
It's rather chilly in this room.
Yes, come over by me.
I don't think I'll make any notes tonight. I'll start fresh in the morning.
Oh, Charlie, that was very clumsy of you.
Elvira, that is true. It was you.
Of course it was.
Charles, darling, Charles, what are you talking about?
Oh, you're a ghost.
I suppose I must be. It's all very confusing.
Charles, what are you looking over there for?
You don't see?
It was.
Elvira!
Elvira!
Yes, Elvira, dear. This is Ruth. Ruth, this is Elvira.
Come and sit down, dear.
You mean to say you can't see her?
Listen, Charles, you sit down quietly on the couch and I'll make you a nice drink.
You must be able to see her. She's there. Look right in front of you.
Are you
There.
mad? What's happening to you?
You can't see her?
If this is a joke, darling, it's gone quite far enough. Now sit down and don't be absurd.
Oh, am I to do? What the hell am I to do?
Well, I should think at least you'd be a little more pleased to see me. After all, you conjured me out.
I didn't do any such thing.
Well, nonsense, of course you did. That awful child with a cold came and told me you wanted to see me urgently.
It was all a mistake, a horrible mistake.
Charles, as I told you before, the joke has gone quite far enough.
I go mad. Oh, God.
Yes, drink this.
Oh, God, this is appalling.
Relax.
How can I relax? I should never be able to relax again as long as I live.
Drink your brandy.
Oh, God. There, now you're satisfied.
Now sit down.
Why are you so anxious for me to sit down? What good would it
I want
do?
you to relax. You can't relax standing up.
Oh, African natives can. They can stand on one leg for hours at a time.
I don't happen to be an African native.
You don't happen to be a what?
An African native.
Well, what does that have to do with it?
It doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. Say no more about it. See, I've sat down.
Yes. Can I get you some more brandy?
Yes, please.
Oh, very unwise, Charles. You always had a weak head.
I can drink yours at the table.
Well, there's no need to be aggressive, Charles. I'm doing my best. I'm sorry. Drink this and we'll go up to bed.
Oh, get rid of her, Charles, and we can talk in peace.
That's a thoroughly immoral suggestion. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What is?
I wasn't talking to you.
Who were you talking to?
To a man who...
Oh, the hell with them.
Oh, there now, she's getting cross.
I don't blame her.
What don't you blame her for? Now listen, Charles, I gather you've got some sort of plan behind all this. I'm not quite a fool. I suspected you when we were doing that idiotic seance.
Don't be so silly. What plan could I have?
I don't know. Perhaps it has to do with one of the characters in your book, how they or one of them would react in a certain situation. Well, I'm not about to be used as a guinea pig unless I'm warned beforehand what it's all about.
Elvira is here, Ruth. She's standing a few yards away from you.
Yes, dear, I see her distinctly under the bar with the zebra.
Ruth!
I'm going up to bed.
I'm going to shut up! Oh, God!
Oh, how dare you speak to me that way, Charles?
Listen, Ruth,
I
listen.
did not. I'm going to bed. I shan't be asleep until upset. I'll leave you to turn the lights. You can come up and say goodnight to me later if you would like.
Oh, that's very big of her, I must say.
Be quiet. You're behaving like a gutter snipe.
Oh, all I have to say, Charles. Good night.
Ruth!
Oh, that was one of the most thoroughly enjoyable half hours I had ever spent.
Oh, Elvira. How could you?
I know, poor Ruth.
This is obviously an hallucination.
I'm afraid I don't know.
What am I to do?
Oh, darling, relax.
Oh, God. Where did you come from?
You know it's very peculiar, but I seem to have forgotten.
Are you to be here indefinitely?
And I don't know that
Oh,
either.
my God.
Why? Would it bother you so much if I were?
You must admit it would be embarrassing.
Well, I don't see why. It's all a question of adjusting yourself. Anyhow, I think you're hard to be so unwelcoming and disagreeable.
No, look here,
I do.
Elvira.
I think you're mean.
Try to see my point, dear. I've been married to Ruth for 5 years, and you've been dead for 7.
Oh, not dead, Charles. Passed over. It's considered vulgar to say dead where I come from.
Passed over, then.
Well, at any rate, now that I'm here, the least you can do is make a pretense of being amiable about it.
Of course, my dear. I'm delighted in one way.
Charles, I don't believe you love me anymore. You mustn't think me unreasonable, but I really am a little hurt. You called me back, and at great inconvenience I came. And you've been thoroughly churlish to me ever since I arrived.
I most emphatically did not send for you. There's been some mistake.
Well, someone did. And that child said it was you. Oh, perhaps it was your subconscious.
You must find out whether you're going to stay or not, and we can make arrangements accordingly.
Well, I don't see how I can.
Well, try to think. Isn't there somebody you know, somebody you can get in touch with over there on the other side, or whatever you call it, who could advise you?
Well, I don't know. It all seems like a dream.
You must know something.
Oh, Charles.
What is it?
I want to cry, and I don't know if I can.
What do you want to cry for?
Oh, it's seeing you again. And you being so irascible the way you always were.
I don't mean to be irascible, Elvira.
Oh, darling, I don't mind. Really. I never did.
Is it cold being a ghost?
No, I don't think so.
What happens if I touch you?
I don't know if you can. Do you want to?
Oh, God.
What is it, darling?
I really do feel strange seeing you again.
Oh, that's better.
What's better?
Your voice was kinder.
Was I ever kind to you when you were alive?
Oh, often.
Oh, how can you? I'm sure that's an exaggeration.
Not at all. You were an absolute pig to me. That time we went to Cornwall and stayed in that awful hotel, you hit me with a billiard cue.
Only very, very gently.
Oh, I love you very much.
I loved you too. Oh. No. I can't feel you. Isn't that horrible? Oh.
Well, perhaps it's for the best. I mean, if I'm to stay here for any length of time.
I suppose I should wake up again, shall I? I feel strangely peaceful now.
Yes. Just put your head back.
Like that?
Mm-hmm. Now, can you feel anything now?
Only a very little breeze through my hair.
Well, that's better than nothing.
I suppose, if I'm really out of my mind, they'll put me into an asylum.
Oh, don't worry about that. Just relax.
Oh, Ruth.
To hell with Ruth.
Yeah. Good morning, darling.
Good morning, Charles.
Tremendously good morning. Ha, there isn't a cloud in the sky.
You'd better sit down. Edith is bringing your breakfast.
Anything interesting in the Times?
Don't be silly, Charles.
I intended to work all day.
Good.
Oh, good morning, Edith.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Feeling fit?
Oh, why, yes, sir. Thank
How's
you, sir.
Cook?
Oh, I don't know, sir. I haven't asked her.
Greet her for me, will you?
Oh, yes, sir.
That will be all for now, Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
You behaved abominably last night. You wounded and insulted me.
I was a victim of an aberration.
Oh, nonsense. You were drunk.
Drunk?
You had 3 strong chai martinis before dinner, a great deal too much burgundy after dinner. Heaven knows how much port and cummer with Dr. Bradman while I was doing my best to entertain that mad woman, and 3 double brandies later. Ought to know I gave them to you myself. Of course you were drunk.
So that's your story, is it?
Oh, you refused to come to bed, and when I finally came down at 3 in the morning to see what had happened to you, I found you passed out on the sofa in an alcoholic coma, with a fire out and your hair all over your face.
I was not in the least drunk, Ruth. Something happened to me last night. Something very peculiar happened to me.
Oh, nonsense.
It isn't nonsense. I honestly had some sort of hallucination.
Oh, I would really rather not discuss it any further.
I swear that during the seance, I was convinced that I heard Elvira's voice, and later on, I was equally convinced that she was in this room. I saw her distinctly and talked to her, and after you'd gone up to bed, we had quite a cozy little chat.
And you seriously expect me to believe that you weren't drunk?
I know I wasn't drunk. I know what it is. You're frightened.
Frightened? Rubbish. What do I have to be frightened of?
Elvira! You wouldn't have minded all that much even if I had been drunk. It's only because it was all mixed up with Elvira. We were talking too much about Elvira. It's dangerous to have somebody too very strongly on your mind when you start dabbling with the occult.
Well, she certainly wasn't very strongly on my mind.
She was in mine.
Oh, she was she?
You tried to make me say that she was more physically attractive than you so you could hold it over me.
Oh, I did not. I don't give a hoot how physically attractive she was.
Oh, yes, you do. Your whole being is devoured with jealousy.
Oh, this is too much.
Yeah, women. My God.
Your view of women is academic, to say the least of it. Just because you've always been dominated by them, it doesn't necessarily follow that you know anything about them.
I've never been dominated by anyone.
Oh, you were hampered by your mother until you were 23. Then you got into the clutches of that Mrs. whatever her name was, and then there was Elvira. She ruled you with a rod of iron.
Elvira never ruled anyone. She was much too elusive. That was one of her greatest charms.
And then there was Maud Chartres.
My affair with Maud Chartres lasted exactly 7.5 weeks. And she cried all the time.
Well, the tyranny of tears.
If you wish to make an inventory of my sex life, dear, I think it only fair to tell you that you've missed several episodes. I shall consult my diary and give you a complete list after lunch.
There is no use trying to impress me with your amorous exploits.
The only woman in my whole life who's ever attempted to dominate me is you. You've been at it for years.
Oh, that is completely untrue.
No, no, it isn't. You boss me and bully me and order me about. And you don't even allow me to have an hallucination if I want to.
Charles, alcohol will ruin your whole life if you allow it to get hold of you, you know.
Once and for all, Ruth, I'd like you to understand that what happened last night had nothing whatever to do with alcohol. You very adroitly rationalize this whole affair to your own satisfaction, and your deductions are based on complete fallacy. I'm willing to grant you that it was an aberration or some sort of odd psychic delusion brought on by suggestion or hypnosis. I was stone cold sober from first to last and extremely upset into the bargain.
You were upset. Ha! What about me?
you behaved with a stolen, obtuse lack of comprehension that frankly shocked me.
I consider that I was remarkably patient.
Instead of putting out a gentle, comradely hand to guide me, you shouted staccato orders at me like a sergeant major.
You seem to forget that you insulted me.
I did not.
You called me a gutter snipe, you told me to shut up, and when I quietly suggested that we go up to bed, you said with a most disgusting leer that it was an immoral suggestion.
I was talking to Elvira.
Well, if you were, I can only say that that conjures up a fairly fragrant picture of your first marriage.
My first marriage was perfectly charming, and I think it in the worst possible taste for you to sneer at it.
Oh, I'm not nearly so interested in your first marriage as you seem to think I am. It is your second marriage that is absorbing me at the moment, and it seems to be on the rock.
Only because you persist in taking up this ridiculous attitude.
My attitude is that of any normal woman whose husband gets drunk and hurls abuse at her.
I was not drunk.
Be quiet, Charles. I'll hear you in the kitchen.
I don't care if they hear me in the town hall. I was not drunk.
Control yourself, Charles.
How can I control myself in the face of your idiotic damn stubbornness? It's giving me claustrophobia.
Oh, well, then you'd better ring Dr. Bradman.
Can I have clear, please, ma'am?
Yes, he did.
Cook wants to know about lunch, ma'am.
We can eat a lunch, Charles.
Please don't worry about me. I'm perfectly happy with a bottle of gin in my bedroom.
Nonsense. Still, we shall both be to lunch.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going into Hyde this morning. Is there anything that you would like?
Yes, a great deal, but I doubt if you can get it in Hyde.
Tell Cook to put Albright-Cassel down on that list.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, Ruth, be reasonable.
I'm being reasonable.
I wasn't pretending. I really did believe that I saw Elvira, and when I saw it, it was a shock of my life. That's why I dropped the top.
But you couldn't have seen her.
I know I couldn't have, but I did.
Well, I'm willing to grant that you might have imagined that you did.
That's what I've been trying to explain to you for hours.
Well, then there's obviously something wrong with you.
Exactly, there's something wrong with me. That's why I've been imploring your sympathy for hours, but all I've got was a stale temperance lecture.
Well, you had drinking, Charles. There was no denying that.
No more than usual.
Well, how do you account for it?
I can't account for it. That's what's so awful.
Did you feel quite well yesterday? During the day, I mean?
Of course I did.
I'm sure to see a nerve specialist.
I'm not in the least erotic, Ruth, and never have been.
Like a analyst, then.
I refused to endure months of expensive humiliation, only to be told at the end of it that at the age of 4 I was in love with my rocking horse.
Well, how do you feel now?
Physically, do you mean?
Well, altogether.
Apart from being worried, I feel quite normal.
Well, then you're not seeing or hearing anything the least unusual.
Not a thing.
You absolutely wrong by the sundial. It looks like a mixed salad.
What's the matter now?
She's here again.
Who's here again?
Elvira.
Oh, pull yourself together and don't be absurd.
It's all those nasturtiums. They're so vulgar.
I like nasturtiums.
You like what?
Help me, Ruth. You've got to help me.
What did you mean before about the nasturtiums?
Never mind about that. Now I tell you, she's here again.
You've been having a nice scene, haven't you? I could hear you all the way down in the garden.
Please mind your own business.
Well, if you're behaving like a lunatic, it's my business. I don't know what is.
I expect it was about me, wasn't it? I know I should feel sorry, but I'm not. I'm delighted.
How can you be so inconsiderate?
Inconsiderate? Well, I like that, I must say. I have done everything I can to help. I consider that I have controlled myself admirably. I would like to say here and now that I don't believe a word about your silly damn hallucinations. You're up to something, Charles. There's been a certain fatuousness in your manner for weeks now. But you just be honest and tell me what it is.
You're wrong. You're dead wrong. I haven't
You're
been
trying to upset me. For someone who missed you, are trying to goad me into saying something I might regret. But I won't stand for it anymore. You're making me utterly miserable.
Listen,
Oh,
Ruth.
let her cry. It'll do her good.
Oh, you're utterly heartless. Oh, listen, Ruth.
No, go on. Talk to her then. Talk to her till you're blue in the face. Don't talk to me.
Help me, Elvira.
How?
Make a seal or something.
Oh, I'm afraid I couldn't manage that. It's frightfully difficult.
You're here, aren't you? You're not an illusion.
I may be an illusion, but I'm most definitely here.
Oh, God, how did you get here?
I told you last night. I can't remember.
Oh, well, you must make me a promise that in the future that you only come to talk to me when I'm alone.
Well, how unkind you are, making me feel so unwanted. Never been treated so rudely.
I don't mean to be rude, but you must...
Oh, it's all your own fault for having married a woman who can't see past the nose on her own face. If she had a grain of real sympathy or affection for you, she'd believe what you tell her.
Charles?
Yes, dear.
I'm awfully sorry I was cross before.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I understand everything now.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Oh, watch out. She's up to something.
Quiet!
Of course, dear, we'll all be quiet. We'll be quiet until the night, won't we?
Listen, you...
I want you to be upstairs with me need to go to bed.
You know, the way that woman hops on bed, it's absolutely erotic.
I'll deal with you later.
Very well, darling, come along.
What are you up to, Ruth?
Well, I'm not up to anything. I just want you to come upstairs and lie down quietly and wait until Dr. Bradman gets here.
No, Ruth, you're wrong.
Oh, she'll have you in a straitjacket before you know where you are.
You're Elvira.
I would with pleasure, but I can't think how.
I can't. Listen, Ruth. If I promise to go to bed, will you let me stay here for just 5 minutes longer?
I really think it would be better if you...
Bear with me, however mad it may seem, just 5 minutes longer.
Very well, what is it?
Sit down. Now listen carefully. Now, Ruth, I want to explain to you clearly and without emotion that the ghost or shade of my first wife, Elvira, is in this room now.
Yes, dear.
I know you don't blame me and are trying violently to humor me, but I intend to prove it to you.
Why not come upstairs, lie down, have a nice rest? You can prove anything you like later on.
She may not be here later on.
Don't worry, she will.
Oh, God! Promise me you'll do as I ask.
Well, that all depends on what it is.
Ruth, you see that bowl of flowers?
Yes, dear.
Elvira will now carry that bowl of flowers to the bar and back again. You will, won't you, Elvira? Just please.
Well, I don't see why I should. You've been quite insufferable to me ever since I materialized.
Please.
Oh, all right. Just this once. Not that I approve of all these carryings on.
Now, Ruth, watch carefully. Go on, Elvira. See?
It's a trick! Oh, Charles, how could you? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's a trick. I know very well it's a trick. It's all part of some horrible plan.
It isn't. I swear it isn't.
Wait.
For God's sake, Elvira, do something else.
Oh, of course, darling. Anything to oblige.
Oh,
Oh, you're trying to get rid of me. You're trying to drive me out of my mind.
don't be so silly.
Prudence, this thing, and I'll never forgive you.
You must believe it. You must. That was Elvira. I swear it was.
Charles, this is madness. Sheer madness. Swear to me it's some sort of hypnotism, some form of auto-suggestion. Swear to me it's only...
Oh, hypnotism, my book.
My dear Mrs. Condomine, I came directly when I got your message.
That was very kind of you. Please sit down. I am profoundly disturbed, Madame Arcati, and I want you...
Oh, I thought as much. By the way.
Well, it's most awfully difficult to explain.
Well, thanks for those explanations.
But it's the facts that are difficult to explain. They're so fantastic.
That's very often are.
Oh, I'm sure you're right.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Mrs. Condomine.
Oh, there certainly are.
Oh, come now, out with it. You've heard strange noises in the night, no doubt. Boards creaking, doors slamming, subdued moanings in the passages. Is that it?
No, I'm afraid not.
No sudden gust of cold wind, I hope.
No, it's worse than that.
More attention.
Well, I know it sounds idiotic, but the other night, during the séance, something happened. I knew it. You know that my husband was married before.
Yes, I have heard of
His
him.
first wife, Elvira, died comparatively young.
Where?
Here, in this house, in this very room.
I'm beginning to see daylight.
She was convalescing after pneumonia, and one evening began to laugh helplessly at a BBC musical program and died.
And materialized after I had gone?
Oh, no, not to me, but to my husband.
Oh, capital! Oh, that's splendid!
From your own professional standpoint, Madame Arcati, I consider it might be regarded as a major achievement.
A triumph, my dear, nothing more nor less than a triumph.
But it is from my own personal perspective, to say the least of it, embarrassing.
At last, a genuine materialization.
Please sit down again, Madame Arcati.
Oh, would anyone sit down in a moment like this? It's tremendous.
Oh, nevertheless, I must insist upon you sitting down and controlling your natural exuberance. I appreciate fully your pride and your achievement, but it has made my position in this house untenable, and I hold you entirely responsible.
Please forgive me, Mrs. Condomine. I am being abominably selfish. How can I help you?
By getting her back to where she came from, of course.
I'm afraid that is easier said than done.
But you don't mean that she's liable to stay here indefinitely, do you?
Well, it's difficult to say. I fear it depends largely on her.
Dear Madame Arcati.
Where is she now?
My husband is driven into Folkestone. She was anxious to see a friend.
You said she's only visible to your husband. Yes. Audible too, I presume.
Well, extremely audible.
Your husband was devoted to her.
I believe so.
When did she pass over?
7 years ago.
That means she must have been on the waiting list.
Waiting list?
Yes, otherwise she would have got beyond the materialization stage by now.
She must have put herself down for a return visit, and she could not have managed that unless there was a strong psychic influence at work.
Oh, you don't mean that Charles, my husband, wanted her back that badly?
Possibly. Or it might have been her own, you think.
Well, that sounds much more likely.
Would you say she was a woman of strong character?
Oh, I don't know, Madame Arcati. I never met her. Nor am I particularly concerned with how or why she got here. I'm solely concerned with getting her away again as soon as possible.
I fully sympathize with you, Mrs. Condomine, and I assure you I will do everything in my power I can to help. But at the moment, I cannot offer any great hopes.
But I always understood that there was some way of exorcising ghosts, some sort of ritual.
You mean the old bell-looking candle method?
Well, yes, I suppose I do.
I'm afraid not, Mrs. Condomine. It was very effective in the old days of genuine religious belief, but not anymore. There was a time, of course, when a drop of holy water could send even a poltergeist scampering for cover. But not anymore. Not anymore. Oh, Sondling edged on John.
Be that as it may, Madame Arcati, I must insist upon you dematerializing my husband's first wife as soon as possible.
The time has come for me to admit to you frankly, Mrs. Condomine, that I haven't the faintest idea how to set about it.
Do you mean to tell me that after having conjured up this ghost or spirit or whatever she is, you are unable to do anything about it at all?
Honesty is the best policy.
Oh, this is outrageous! I ought to hand you over to the police.
You go too far, Mrs. Condomine.
I go too far indeed. Do you realize what your insane amateur muddling has done?
I have been a professional since I was a child, Mrs. Condomine. Amateur is a word I cannot tolerate.
It seems to me the height of amateurishness to evoke malignant spirits and not to be able to get rid of them again.
I was in a trance. Anything might happen when I'm in a trance.
Well, then all I can suggest is that you go into another one immediately. Get the damned woman out of my house.
You can't go into trances at a moment's notice. It takes hours of preparation. In addition to which I have to be extremely careful of my diet days beforehand.
Well, you'll have to do something.
I shall report the whole matter to the Society for Psychical Research at the earliest possible moment.
Will they be able to do anything?
I doubt it. They have an investigation, I expect you like questioning in war, tapping in my jabber, and they probably have a conference, and you have to go to London and testify.
Oh, it's too humiliating, it really is.
Oh, please try not to upset yourself. Nothing can be achieved by upsetting yourself.
Well, it's all very fine for you to talk, Madame Arcati. You seem to have no realization of my position.
You try to look at the bright side.
The bright side? The right side, indeed. If your husband's first wife came back from the grave to live at your house with you, do you think you'd be able to look on the bright side?
I resent your tone, Mrs. Condomine, I really do.
But you most certainly have no right to.
Kindly remember that I came here the other evening on your own invitation.
On my husband's invitation?
I did what I was requested to do, which was to give a seance and establish contact with the other side. I had no idea that there was any ulterior motive except it.
Ulterior motive?
Your husband was obviously eager to get in touch with his former wife. If I had known that at the time, I should naturally have consulted you beforehand.
Oh, no, Madame Arcati. He was not eager to get in touch with anyone. He was simply researching material for a book that he's writing on a homicidal medium.
Am I to understand that I was only invited in a spirit of mockery?
No, he merely wanted to make notes on some of the tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade? Insufferable. I have never been so insulted in my life. I really have nothing more to say to one another, Mrs. Condomine. Good day.
Oh, no, don't go, please, don't go.
Your attitude from the outset has been most unpleasant, Mrs. Condomine. Some of your remarks have been discourteous in the extreme, and I should like to say that if you and your husband were foolish enough to tamper with the unseen for paltry motives and in the spirit of ribaldry, whatever has happened to you is your own fault. And to coin a phrase as far as I'm concerned, you can sue in your own juice.
Down.
What on earth was Madame Arcati doing here?
She came to tea.
Did you ask her?
Of course I did.
You never told me you were going to.
Well, you never told me you were going to invite Elvira to live with us.
I did.
Oh, yes, you did, darling. It was your subconscious.
Oh, she's of course.
I told her the real reason we invited her the other evening.
That's quite unnecessary, most of the kind.
Well, she needed taking down a bit. She was blowing herself out like a pouter pigeon.
Why did you ask her to tea?
To get me exercised, of course.
Is that true, Ruth?
Is what true?
What Elvira said.
Oh, you know very well I can't hear what Elvira says.
She said that you got Madame Arcati here to try to get her exercise. Is that true?
Well, we discussed the possibilities.
There's a snake in the grass for you.
You had no right to do such a thing without consulting me.
I had every right. This situation is impossible and you know it.
If only you'd make an effort to be more friendly to Elvira, we might all have quite a jolly time.
I have no wish to have a jolly time with Elvira.
She's certainly very bad-tempered, isn't she? Can't think why you married her.
She's naturally a bit upset. We must take allowances.
I was never bad-tempered, though, was I, darling? Not even when you were beastly to me.
I was never beastly to you.
Where is Elvira at the moment?
In the chair by the table.
Now listen to me, Elvira. I wish to be absolutely honest with you.
Ooh, hold on to your hats, boys.
It is true that I invited Madame Arcati here with a view to getting you exorcised. But I think if you'd been in my position, you'd have done exactly the same thing, wouldn't you?
I shouldn't have done it so obviously.
What did she say?
Nothing. She just nodded and smiled.
Oh, well, that's very generous of you, Elvira. I would so much rather that there were no misunderstandings between us.
That's very sensible, Ruth. I agree entirely.
And so I wish to ask you a frank question. Why did you come here? What could you have possibly hoped to have achieved beyond the obvious joke of making Charles into an astral bigamist?
Oh, I came because the power of Charles's love tugged and tugged and tugged at me, didn't it, my sweet?
What did she say?
She said that she came because she wanted to see me again.
Now she's done that, hasn't she?
We can't be inhospitable, Ruth.
Well, I have no wish to be inhospitable. I would just like to know how long you intend to stay, Elvira.
I don't know, I really don't know. Isn't it awful?
She says she doesn't know.
Well, surely that's inconsiderate of her.
Well, didn't that spiritualist have any constructive ideas about how to get rid of me?
What did Madame Arcati say?
She said she couldn't do a thing.
Don't be upset, Ruth, dear. We should soon adjust ourselves, you know. You must admit it's a unique experience. I can see no reason why we all shouldn't have a great deal of fun out of this.
Fun? Are you out of your mind?
Not at all. I thought I was at first, but I'm beginning to enjoy myself immensely.
Oh, Charles.
Oh, she's off again.
You really must not be so callous, Elvira. Try to see her point a little.
I suppose she said something insulting.
No, dear, she didn't do anything of the sort.
Now listen to me, Elvira.
She's over by the window.
Oh, why the hell can't she stay in the same place?
Temper again. Oh, my poor darling, what a terrible life you must lead.
Do shut up, darling. You're only going to make everything worse.
Who was that darling addressed to, her or me?
Both of you.
Oh, this is intolerable.
For heaven's sakes, don't get into another state.
I have been doing my level best to control myself ever since yesterday, and I am damned if I'm going to do it anymore. The strain is too much. She has the advantage of being able to say whatever she pleases, and I can't hear her. And she can hear me all right, can't she, without me modified interpreting?
Modified interpreting? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, yes, you do. You haven't once told me what you really said. You wouldn't dare. Judging from her photograph, she's the type that would use the most unpleasant language.
Ruth, you're not to talk like that.
Well, I've been making polite conversation ever since dinner last night and breakfast and lunch today, and I'm not going to do it. It's been a nightmare. I don't like Elvira any more than she likes me. And what's more, I'm certain I never could have, dead or alive. If just for once, since her untimely arrival here, she had shown one sign of manners, one sign of breeding, I might have felt differently about her. But all she has done is to make mischief between us and have private jokes with you against me. I'm going up to my room. I shall have my dinner on the tray. You two can have the house to yourselves and joke and gossip to your heart's content. In the morning, I'm going up to London to interview the Psychical Research Society, and if they fail me, I shall go straight to the Archbishop of Condomine.
Ruth!
Let her go. She'll calm down later on.
So like her to behave like this. She's generally so equable.
No, she's not, Charles. Not really. Her mouth gives her away. It's a hard mouth, Charles.
Her mouth has nothing to do with it. I resent you discussing Ruth as though she were a horse.
Oh. Do you love her?
Of course I do.
As much as you loved me?
Don't be silly. It's all entirely different.
I'm so glad. Nothing could ever have been quite the same, could it have, Charles?
You've always behaved very badly.
Oh, Charles.
I'm grieved to see your sojourn in the other world hasn't improved you in the least.
Go on, I love it when you pretend to be cross with me.
I've got to go talk to Ruth.
Oh, coward!
That's idiotic. I can't let her go like that. I must be a little nice and sympathetic to her.
Well, I don't see why. If she's set on being disagreeable, I should just let her get on with it.
Well, the little business has been difficult. We must be fair.
Well, she should learn to be more adaptable.
She probably will in time. It's been a shock.
Has it been a shock for you too, darling?
Of course. What did you expect?
A nice shock.
What do you want, Elvira?
Want? Well, I don't know what you mean.
I remember that whenever you were overpowering and demure, it usually meant that you wanted something.
Well, I think it's hard of you to be so suspicious. All I want is to be with you.
Well, you are.
Well, I mean alone, darling. If you go up and pamper Ruth and smarm her over, she's likely to come flouncing down, and our lovely, quiet evening together will be spoilt.
Yes. Yes, I do.
You know, I haven't seen you for 7 years. It's only natural that I should want some time alone with you to talk over old times. I'll let you go up and talk to Ruth if you really think it's your duty.
Of course it is.
Well, then I don't mind.
Oh, you disgraceful Elvira.
Now, you won't be long, will you? You'll come right back down again.
I shall probably dress for dinner while I'm upstairs.
Oh, darling, you don't have to dress for me.
I always dress for dinner.
Oh, what are you having? I should like to see you eat something really delicious.
You be a good girl now. You can play the gramophone if you like.
Thank you, Charles.
That's what you really are, Duke. It certainly has been quite a chapter of accidents, hasn't it?
Certainly has.
It happens sometimes, you know. Everything seems to go wrong at once, as though there was some evil forces at work.
Would you like a cocktail or some cherry?
Oh, no, thank you, really not. We've really got to get going like lightning. George will be down in a moment, and we've really got to be at the Wilmots by 7.
I think I'll have some sherry. I feel I need it.
Don't worry about your husband's arm, Mrs. Condomine. I'm sure it's just a sprain.
Well, it's not his arm I'm worried about.
Well, I'm sure he'll be up and about again in a few days.
Oh, I'm certain she shall.
Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Condomine. It's only a slight strain.
Well, I'm so relieved.
It made a great deal of a fuss when I examined it. Men are much worse patients than women are, really. Particularly highly strung men like your husband.
Is he highly strung, do you think?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk to you about that. I'm afraid he's been overworking lately.
Overworking?
He's in rather a nervous condition. Nothing serious, you understand.
Well, what makes you think so?
Oh, I know the symptoms. Of course, the shock at the fall may have something to do with it, but I certainly should advise a complete rest for a couple of weeks.
You mean he ought to go away?
Yeah, I do. I do. In cases like that, a change of atmosphere works wonders.
Thank you, Doctor. What symptoms did you notice?
Oh, nothing to be unduly alarmed about. A certain air of strain, an inability to focus his eyes on the person he's talking to, and a few rather marked irrelevancies in his conversation.
I see. Do you remember any specific examples?
He suddenly shouted, "What are you doing in the bathroom?" And a little later, when I was making out his prescription, he suddenly said, "For God's sakes, behave yourself."
Well, you know, he often goes on like that. Yes, particularly when he's immersed in writing a book.
I'm not particularly perturbed by it, really. But I do think that rest and change would be a good idea.
Thank you, Doctor. Would you like some sherry?
No. No, thank you. We really must be off.
How is poor Edith?
Oh, she'll be all right in a couple of days. She's still recuperating from that concussion.
It is funny, isn't it, that your husband and your housemate should fall down on the same day, isn't it?
Yes, it's that sort of thing amusing.
I didn't mean it quite like that, Mrs.
Come
Condomine.
on, Violet. You're talking to my patient.
You are, or George. Goodbye, Mrs. Condomine.
We'll pop in and see both our patients sometime tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, how does it feel?
All right.
It's only a slight strain, you know.
Is this damn thing really essential?
It is a wise precaution. It will prevent you from using that left arm except when it's necessary.
I intended to drive into Folkestone this evening.
It'd be better if you didn't.
It's extremely inconvenient.
Well, you could just as easily wait and go tomorrow, Charles.
Oh, I can't stand another one of these dreary evenings at home, Charles. It'll drive me dotty. I haven't seen a film in 7 years.
Let me be the first to congratulate you.
What's that, old man?
Charles, be sensible, I implore you.
Well, sorry, I forgot.
You can drive the car if you promise to be careful and drive slowly. The gear change is on your right, is it not?
Yes.
Oh, then remember, if you do go out, easy does it. The roads are very slippery. Come along, my dear.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Right this way.
You really are infuriating, Elvira. Surely you could wait and go to the movies another night. Stop behaving like a schoolgirl. You're old enough to know better.
What?
Oh, I was talking to Elvira.
She isn't here.
Well, she was a moment ago. She threw a rose at me.
She's been very high-spirited for the last few days. I know this mood of old. It usually meant that she's up to something.
Are you sure she's not here?
Quite sure.
Good. I have to talk to you. I must. It's important.
Ruth, you've been behaving very well for the last few days. You're not going to start making scenes again, are you?
Well, I resent that old patronage, Charles. I have behaved well, as you call it, because there was nothing else to do. But I offer no guarantees for the future. My patience is being stretched to its uttermost.
As far as I can see, the position is just as difficult for her as it is for you, even more so. Poor thing comes back trustfully after all those years in the other world. And what is she faced with? Nothing but brawling and hostility.
And what did she expect?
Surely even an ectoplasmic manifestation has a right to a little of the milk of humankind.
Oh, the milk of human fiddlesticks. Elvira's about as trusting as a pot-adder.
Your granite, Ruth, sheer unyielding granite.
And a good deal more dangerous into the bargain.
Dangerous? I've never heard anything so ridiculous. How could a poor, lonely, wistful little spirit like Elvira be dangerous?
Quite easily, and she is. She's beginning to show her hand.
How do you mean?
This is a fight, Charles, a bloody battle. A duel to the death between Elvira and me. Don't you see that?
Melodramatic hysteria.
It's not melodramatic hysteria, it's true. Can't you see?
No, I can't. You're imagining things. Jealousy causes people to have the most curious delusions.
I have been doing my best not to lose my temper with you, Charles, but I must say you are making it increasingly difficult.
All this talk of battles is a fool.
She came here with one purpose and one purpose only, and if you can't see that, you're a bigger fool than I thought you.
What purpose could she have beyond a natural desire to see me again? After all, you must remember she was extremely attached to me. Poor child.
Her purpose is perfectly obvious. To get you to herself forever.
That's absurd. How could she?
I'm killing you off, of
Killing me
course.
off? You're mad.
Then why do you suppose that when Edith fell down the stairs, she nearly cracked her skull?
What's Edith got to do with it?
Because the whole of the top stair was covered with axle grease. The cook discovered it afterwards.
You're making this up, Ruth.
Oh, I'm not. I swear I'm not. And when you were lopping that dead branch off the pear tree and the ladder broke, why, it had been practically sawn through on both sides.
Why would she want to kill me? I can understand her wanting to kill you, but why me?
If you were dead, it would be her final triumph over me. She'd have you to herself forever on her damned Austral plain, and be left high and dry. But she's probably planning some sort of spiritual remarriage. I wouldn't put anything past her.
Ruth!
But don't you see now?
She couldn't be so sly, so wicked, she couldn't.
Oh, couldn't she?
No, I agree with you. I grant you, as a character, she's rather light and irresponsible, but I would never believe her capable of love kindness.
Well, perhaps the spirit will deteriorate.
Oh,
Ruth. Now stop standing there looking like a wounded spaniel and concentrate. This is serious.
What are we to do?
I have to let her know that the suspected thing behaved perfectly ordinarily. I'm going to Mount Arcati. Even if she can't get rid of Elvira, she can certainly think of some technical method to render her harmless. If it takes a trance, she shall go into a trance if I have to beat her into it. I've gone in half an hour. Tell Elvira I've gone to see the vicar.
This is appalling.
Oh, never mind that now. Just don't give yourself away by so much, Paddy. Flick of an eyelash.
Look out!
What?
I merely said it's a nice lookout.
What's a nice lookout?
The weather, Elvira.
I find it difficult to believe that you and Ruth at this particular moment can't think of anything more interesting to talk about than the weather.
I can't stand this anymore, I really can't.
Has she broken out again?
What did she say?
She asked if you had broken out again.
Oh, how dare you talk to me like that, Elvira? Oh, Charles and I were not talking about the weather, Elvira, as you so shrewdly suspected. We should loathe to have any secrets from you.
Now then,
and so I will explain. I was trying to persuade him not to drive you into Folkestone this evening, as it would be bad for his arm, and he would just as easily wait and go tomorrow. However, as he seems determined to place your wishes above mine in everything, I have nothing further to say. I'm sure that I hope that you both enjoy yourselves.
There now.
Have you been beastly to her, Charles?
No, Ruth doesn't like being thwarted any more than you do.
She's a woman of sterling character. It's a pity she's so ungiving.
As I told you before, I would rather not discuss Ruth with you. It makes me uncomfortable.
I won't mention it again. You ready?
What for?
Well, to go to Folkestone, of course.
I want some more sherry.
Oh, I don't believe you want to take me at all.
Of course I do, but I think it's more sensible to wait until the morning. It's a filthy night.
How familiar this is.
In what way familiar?
All through our married life. I only had to suggest something for you to immediately start hedging me off.
I'm not hedging you off, I merely said.
Oh, all right. We'll spend another cozy, intimate evening at home with Ruth snapping at us like a terrier.
If you don't behave yourself, I shan't take you to Folkestone ever.
Oh, Charles, please don't be elderly and ground with me. Please, let's go now.
Not until I've had my sherry.
You aren't tiresome, darling. I've been waiting about for hours.
A few more minutes won't make any difference, then.
Oh, very well.
Besides, the car won't be back for half an hour at least.
What?
Ruth's taken. She had to go and see the vicar.
What did you say?
What on earth?
You said that Ruth has taken the car.
Yes, to go and see the vicar, but she won't be gone long.
Oh my God, Elvira! Stop her. Go and stop her immediately.
Why? What for?
Go out and stop her, I said!
It's too late. I heard it go a couple of minutes ago. What are you going on like this for? What have you done?
Done? I haven't done anything.
Elvira, you're lying.
Lying? No. What would there be to lie about?
What are you in such a state for?
Well, I'm not in a state. Oh, I don't know what you mean.
You've done something dreadful.
Oh, Charles, please don't look at
The
me
car!
like that.
The car!
No, Charles!
Ruth was right. You did want to kill me. You've done something to the car. What did you do? Answer me.
Oh!
Hello. Yes, speaking. I see. Bridge at the bottom of the hill. Thank you. Then, I shall come at once.
Well, of all the filthy low-down... Ow! Ruth, stop it! Let go!
I hope you will not consider this an intrusion, Mr. Condomine.
Not at all. Please sit down, won't you? Would you like some coffee or liquor?
No, thank you. I had to come, Mr. Condomine.
Yes?
I felt a tremendous urge, like a rushing wind, and here I am.
It's very kind of you.
Not kind at all. It was my duty. I reproach myself bitterly, you know.
Please don't. The's no necessity for that.
Oh, I allowed myself to get into a huff the other day with your late wife. I went all the way home in the grip of temper. I have regretted it ever since.
My dear Mademoiselle,
please, let me go on. Mine is the shame, mine is the blame. Had I not been so impetuous, had I listened to the cool voice of reason, so much might have been averted.
You told my wife distinctly that you were unable to help her. You were perfectly honest. Over and above the original unfortunate mistake, I can see no reason for you to reproach yourself.
In a moment of crisis, I threw in the towel instead of throwing down the gauntlet.
Whatever you threw, Madame Arcati, I very much fear that nothing could have been done. It seems as if circumstances have been a little too strong for all of us.
I cannot bring myself to admit defeat so easily. I could at least have concentrated, made an effort.
Never mind.
I do mind. I mind with every fibre of my being. I've been thinking very carefully. I've also been reading up a good deal the last few dreadful days. I gather that we're alone.
My first wife is not in the room now. She's lying down. The funeral exhausted her. I imagine that my second wife is with her, but of course I have no way of knowing for certain.
You remark no difference in texture of your first wife since the accident?
No, she seems much as usual, a little under the weather perhaps, a trifle spirited, but that's all.
Well, that washes that out.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No, just a little theory I had. In the 19th century, there was a pretty widespread belief that a ghost who had participated in the death of a human being disintegrated automatically.
How do you know that Elvira was in any way responsible for Ruth's death?
It came to me last night, Mr. Condomine. It came to me in a blinding flash. Great Scott, I said I've got it. After that, I began to put two and two together. At 3 in the morning, with my brain fairly seething, I went to work. Yes, oh yes, I have found it. Ah, here it is. I copied it out of Edmonton's Witchcraft and its Fireplace.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pluck up your heart, Mr. Condomine. All is not lost.
Now look here, Madame Arcati.
You are still anxious to dematerialize your first wife, I suppose?
I'm perfectly furious with her, but...
But what?
Well, she's been upset for the last few days, you see. Apart from me being angry with her, which she always hated even when she was alive, Ruth, my second wife, hasn't left her side for a moment. You must see she's been having a pretty bad time of it, what with one thing and another.
Oh, yes, your delicacy of feeling does you much credit, Mr. Condomine. But I must say, if you will forgive my bluntness, that you're a damn fool.
You're at liberty to think whatever you please.
No, don't get your high horse. There's no sense in that, is there? I have a formula here that I think I will be able to get rid of her without hurting her feelings in the least. Oh, it's extremely simple and requires nothing more than complete concentration from you and a minor trance from me. I may even be able to manage it without lying down.
Honestly, I would rather...
Charles?
What on earth's the matter?
Oh, what's she doing here?
She came to offer me a condolence.
Oh, they could have been congratulations.
Please don't say things like that, Elvira. It is in the worst possible taste. Madame Arcati, please allow me to introduce my first wife, Elvira.
Oh, how do you do?
Oh, what does she want, Charles? Send her away.
Then don't close the room she had at the moment.
Now, she's moving about rather rapidly. I'll tell you when and where she settles.
She's the one who got me here in the first place, isn't she?
Yes.
Well, tell her to get me back again as soon as possible. Can't stand this house another minute.
Really, Elvira? I'm surprised.
Oh, I don't care how surprised you are. I'm sick of the whole thing. I want to go home.
Don't be childish, Elvira.
I'm not being childish. I mean it.
Very interesting. I smell ectoplasm strongly.
Oh, what a disgusting thing to say.
What is she now?
Oh, here, close to me.
Oh, are you happy, my dear?
Oh, tell the silly little bitch to mind her own business.
Was the journey difficult? Are you weary?
Oh, she's crazy.
Just a moment, Madame Arcati.
This is wonderful.
Charles, will you ask her to get into the other room? I've got to talk to you.
Madame Arcati.
Oh, just a moment. I almost have contact. Oh, yes, I can sense the vibration. This is magnificent.
Go on, Elvira. Don't be a spoil sport. Give her a bit of encouragement.
If you promise to get her into the other room.
All right.
Oh, yes, again. Oh, absolutely stunning.
I'm so glad you're pleased.
Oh, Charles, please get her into the other room. Ruth will be here in a minute.
Madame Arcati, would you think it most frightfully rude if I asked you to go into the dining room for a moment? My first wife wishes to speak to me alone.
Oh, must I? It's so exciting actually being in the same room with her.
Only for a few moments. I promise she'll be here when you come back.
Oh, very well. Hand me my bag. It's on the table.
I'll get it.
Oh! You darling. You little darling.
How good is she really?
I don't know.
Well, you think she could get me back again?
But my dear.
Oh, don't say my dear like that. It's smug and supercilious.
Oh, Really, Elvira?
Oh, the whole thing's been a failure. A miserable, dreary failure. Not what high hopes I had.
You can't expect much sympathy from me, you know. I'm perfectly aware that your highest hope was to murder me.
Oh, don't put it like that, Charles. It sounds so beastly.
It is beastly. It's one of the beastliest ideas I ever heard.
There was a time when you would have welcomed the chance of being with me forever and ever.
Your behavior shocked me immeasurably, Elvira. I had no idea it was so unscrupulous.
Oh, Charles.
Oh, God. Stop crying.
Oh, they're only ghost tears. They don't mean anything, but they're very painful.
You brought all this on yourself, you know.
Oh, that's right, and rub it in. Anyhow, it was only because I loved you. Silliest thing I ever did in my whole life was to love you. You were always unworthy of me.
That remark comes perilously near impertinence, Elvira.
I sat there on the other side, just longing for you. I did, really. All through your affair with that woman in the south of France, I went on loving you, thinking truly of you. And then you married Ruth, and even then I forgave you. And I tried to understand because I thought deep down you really loved me best. That's why I signed up for a return visit. Had to fill out all those forms, wait about in drafty passages for hours. Oh, everything might have been all right if only you died before you met Ruth. She's absolutely ruined you. I wasn't in the house a day before I realized that. Yes, your work is not a quarter as good as it used to be.
That's entirely untrue. Ruth helped me and encouraged me with my work, which is a downside more than you ever did.
That's probably what's wrong with it.
All you ever thought of was going to parties and enjoying yourself.
Well, why shouldn't I have fun? I died young, didn't I?
You needn't have died at all if you hadn't been idiotic enough to go out on the river with Guy Henderson and get soaked to the skin.
Oh, so we're back to Guy Henderson, are we?
You behaved abominably over Guy Henderson, and it's no use pretending that you didn't.
Guy adored me. And besides, he was very attractive.
You told me distinctly that he didn't attract you in the least.
Well, of course I did. You would have had a fit if I'd said that he had.
Did you have an affair with Guy Henderson?
Well, I'd really rather not discuss it if you don't mind.
Answer me. Did you or didn't you?
Of course I didn't.
You let him kiss you, though, didn't you?
Oh, how could I help it? He was bigger than I was.
You swore to me!
Oh, of course I did! No, you were always making scenes over nothing at all.
Nothing at all!
You never really loved me a bit. It was all your beastly vanity.
You seriously believe that it was only vanity that upset you when you went out into the hunt with Guy Henderson?
Oh, it was not a hunt. It was a little long.
I don't care if it was a three-master schooner. You had no right to go.
You seem to forget why I went. You seem to forget that you spent the entire evening making sheep's eyes at that overblown harridan with the false pearls.
A lady of Cynthia's exposition would hardly wear false pearls.
Yes, yes, and that's practically all she was wearing.
I'm pained to observe that 7 years in the echoing vaults of eternity have in no way impaired your native vulgarity.
That is the remark of a pompous ass.
There's nothing to be gained by continuing this discussion.
Yes, you always used to say that when you were thoroughly worsted.
Oh, looking back on our married years, Elvira, I see now with hard clarity that they were nothing but a mockery.
Well, you invite mockery, Charles. It has something to do with your personality, I think. A certain seedy grandeur.
What's it for all of
I never suspected it, but I laughed at you steadily from the altar to the grave. All your petty jealousies and your fussings and your...
You were reckless and irresponsible and morally unstable. I realized that before we left Budley Salterton.
Nobody but a monumental bore would have thought of having a honeymoon at Budley Salterton.
What's the matter with Budley Salterton?
I was an eager young bride, Charles. I wanted music and glamour and romance. Instead, I got potted palms. 7 hours a day on a damp golf course, and a 3-piece orchestra playing Merry England.
It's a pity you didn't tell me so at the time.
I did, but you wouldn't listen. That's why I went out on the moors that day with Captain Bracegirdle. I was desperate.
And you swore to me that you'd gone over to see your aunt in Exmouth.
Well, it was the moors.
With Captain Bracegirdle?
With Captain Bracegirdle.
I might have known it! What a fool I was! What a blind fool! Did he make love to you?
Of course.
Oh, God.
Only very discreetly. He was in the cavalry, you know.
Well, all I can say is that I'm well rid of you.
Unfortunately, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am. You're dead and Ruth's dead. I shall sell this house all stock and barrel and go away.
Well, I shall follow you.
I shall go a long way away. I shall go to South America. You'll hate that. You always were such a bad traveler.
Well, that can't be helped. You called me back, and I shall follow you.
I did not call you back.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you did. Someone did, and it's hardly likely to have been Ruth.
Nothing in the world was further from my thoughts.
You were talking about me that evening before dinner.
I might just as easily have been talking about anybody.
When I think of what might have happened if I had succeeded in getting you to the other side, it makes me shudder. It does, really. I swear to you, I'll be better off with Ruth. At least she'll find her own set and stay out of my way.
Oh, so I get in your way, do I?
Only because I was idiotic enough to believe that you loved me. And because I sort of felt sorry for you.
I'm sick of these insults. Please go away.
Oh, there's nothing I'd like better. I always believed in cutting my losses. That's why I died.
Of all the reasons, sophistry.
Oh, calling that girl again and send her to work. I can't stand this another minute. I want to go home.
Oh, heaven's sakes, don't snivel.
Oh, call her in, I said. She's got to get me out of this.
I quite agree, and the sooner the better. Madam Arcati! Oh, God! Will you come in here now?
Is she still here?
Yes.
Where? Tell me where.
Over there by the record player.
Oh, my dear, my dear.
Oh, stop her phoning on me, Charles, or I shall break something.
Elvira and I have discussed the whole situation, Madam Arcati, and she wishes to go home immediately.
Home?
Wherever she came from.
Oh, you don't think she'd like to stay a few days longer? She'd like to things a little more organized.
No, I want to go home now.
Yeah, me with her. I can bring my crystal.
Oh, God forbid.
We're both agreed that she must go as soon as possible. Please strain me nerve, Madam Arcati. Make every effort. You said something about a formula. What is it?
You insist.
I most emphatically do insist.
Charles.
Shut up.
I can't guarantee anything, you know. I'll do my best, but it may not work.
What is the formula?
Nothing more than a little verse, really. If they'll introduce use after the 17th century, I shall need some salt.
There's some salt in the dining room. I'll get it.
Oh, we ought, of course, have chicken shepherd's port and a frog or two. But I think I can manage without. You won't be frightened, my dear. It's absolutely painless.
What is Vera?
Oh, yes, put it on the table, will you? Let me see. Sprinkle it just the soup's on there in the center.
Oh, this is going to be a total flop. I can tell you it right now.
Now we should make some flowers out of that vase. There's a good shot.
Yes, Merlin does this all the time at parties. Bores us all to death with it.
Now, Mr. Condomine, the gramophone. We should have the same record as before, I think.
I shall get it.
Whatever you think best, Madam Arcati.
If only that Mr. Ainsworth of the Psychical Research Society could see this. He'd have a very well, really. Now, Mr. Condomine, sit down, please. And rest your hands on the table, but don't put your fingers in the salt. I shall turn out the lights myself. One triangle, one half circle, and a little dot. There.
She's a total fake. This is a complete waste of time.
Anything's worth trying.
Darling, I wanted to succeed as much as you do, but I'll lay you 10 to 1 it's a dead failure.
Would you kindly ask your wife to lie down on the sofa?
Go on, Elvira.
This is sheer nonsense. Don't blame me if I get the giggles.
Concentrate. Think of nothing.
That's right. I tried. Hands at the sides, legs extended. Breathe steadily. Is she comfortable?
Are you comfortable, Elvira?
No.
She's quite comfortable.
I shall join you in a moment, Mr. Condomine. I may have to go into a slight trance, but pay no attention. Now, first the music, and away we go. 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Now then, is there anyone there? Is that you, Daphne? Sorry to bother you, my dear, but Mrs. Condomine would like to return. Did you hear what I said? Can you help us? Mr. Condomine, it's trying to...
What's the matter, Madam Arcati? You hurt?
Oh, she's in one of her you damn trances. I'm here as much as ever I
What
was.
on earth's happening? Are you hurt?
Oh, leave her alone, Charles. She's having a whale of a time.
For God's sake, wake up!
I ever get back, I'm going to strangle that bloody little fat thing.
What happened? Nothing at all.
Something happened, I know it did.
He fell over, that's all that happened.
Oh, is she still here?
Yes.
Oh, something must have gone wrong.
Oh, make her do it properly, Charles. I'm sick of being messed about like
Be
this.
quiet, she's doing her best.
Something happened. I sensed it in my trance. It shivered through me.
Once and for all, Charles, what the hell does this Well, we've done everything we can. I must say, I couldn't be more exhausted.
It'll be daylight soon.
Listen to me, Elvira. If you and I have got to stay together in this house, and it looks unpleasantly likely, we shall have to come to some sort of an arrangement.
What sort of arrangement?
You're not going to stay indefinitely in this house.
With you, then, we shall have to be with you.
I don't see why. Why don't you take a cottage somewhere?
But you called us back.
I've already explained it till I'm blue in the face. I did nothing of the sort.
But Madame Arcati said you did.
Madame Arcati is a thing.
I could have told you that in the first place.
I think you're behaving very shabbily, Charles.
I don't see what I've done.
Well, we have all agreed that since Elvira and I are both dead, it would be both right and proper for us to dematerialize again as soon as possible. On that we agree. We've allowed ourselves to be subjected to the most humiliating hocus-pocus for hours and hours without complaining.
Without complaining.
We've stood up, we have lain down, we've concentrated, we have sat interminably while this tiresome woman recited extremely unflattering verses at us. We've endured 5 seances, we've watched her fling herself in and out of trances until we're dizzy. At the end of it, we find ourselves no further along than we were at the beginning.
Well, it isn't my fault.
Well, be that as it may, the least you can do is admit defeat gracefully, make the best of it. Your manners are boorish to a degree.
I'm just as exhausted as you are.
Well, if she can't get us back, she can't, and that's that. We shall have to think of something else.
She must get you back. Anything else is unthinkable.
Oh, that's gratitude for you.
Gratitude?
Yes, for all the years we both devoted to you. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What about all the years I devoted to both of you?
Nonsense. We've waited on you hand and foot, haven't we, Ruth? You're exceedingly selfish, and you always were.
Ah, in that case, I felt to see why you both were so anxious to get back to me.
Well, you called us back, and you've done nothing but try to get rid of us ever since we came, hasn't he, Elvira?
He certainly has.
And now, due to your idiotic inefficiency, we find ourselves in the most mortifying position. We're neither fish, flesh, fowl, nor whatever it is.
Well, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you go back on your own?
Well, we can't. You know very well we can't.
You must have somebody on the other side who can help you.
Well, I've only been there a few days. Ask Elvira.
Well, I've already told you it's no good. The impetus has to come from here. Perhaps Charles doesn't want us to leave quite enough.
I certainly do.
Well, then perhaps you have a very weak will. I always suspected it.
There's no use arguing anymore. Wake up, Madame Arcati.
Please wake up, Madame Arcati.
Shake her.
It might upset her.
I don't care if it kills her.
Please wake up, Madame Arcati.
What time is it?
5:10.
What time did I go?
Over there we go.
Very curious. Are they still here?
Of course they are.
Oh, how disappointing.
Have you any suggestions?
What do you say we have another seance?
Oh, not another seance. For God's sake, not another seance.
Now listen, Madame Arcati, before you go off and do any further trances, I really think that we ought to discuss the situation a little.
Oh, good, an excellent idea.
I think I'll have a little brandy.
You can have a double and enjoy yourself.
One of these days I intend to give myself the pleasure of telling Madame Arcati exactly what I think of her.
She's been doing her best.
Are the girls getting responded?
I'm afraid they are, rather.
Oh, we're waiting through yet. Don't be downhearted. No, Mr. Condomine. The discussion right away.
My wives and I have been talking it over there, both absolutely convinced that I somehow or other called them back.
Oh, very natural.
I'm convinced that I did not.
Well, love is a strong psychic force, Mr. Condomine. It can work untold miracles. A true love call can encompass the universe.
I'm sure it can, but I must confess to you frankly that although my affection for both Elvira and Ruth is of the warmest, I cannot truthfully feel that it would come under the heading that you described.
I should say not indeed.
You may not know your own strength, Mr. Condomine.
I did not call them back, either consciously or subconsciously. That is my final word on the subject.
Children could come back on their own accord. There to have been somebody, a strong psychic subject in the house of wish for them.
Well, it isn't me.
Perhaps it was Dr. Bradman.
Oh, I never knew he cared.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Absolutely positive.
Oh, great Scott! I believe I've been walking up the wrong tree.
How do you mean?
Oh, the Sudbury case.
I don't understand.
Oh, I wonder.
What's a Sudbury case? I wish you'd explain. What did you do?
She realised old Lady Sudbury after she'd been firmly entrenched in a private chapel for over 17 years.
How? Can you tell me how?
Oh, Charles, a fluke. I came upon it on the mere squeeze.
What fluke? What did you do?
Wait. All in good time. Now, who was here during the first seance?
The Bradmans, Ruth, and me and yourself.
Yes, to be sure. But the Bradmans weren't here last night, were they?
No.
Quickly, my crystal.
Did you read this, sir?
Advantage. Oh, quite advantage.
No, Edith.
I'm sorry, sir. It was one night at the bell, or somebody called me. I was asleep, or I didn't rightly know which it was.
Come here, child.
Go on. Go to Madame Arcati. It's quite all right. Watch a step. There you are, love. Right there.
Whom do you see in this room, child?
You, madam.
Go on.
The master.
Anyone else?
Oh, no, madam.
Look again.
Oh, I don't understand, sir. Oh.
Come, child. Look again.
Do concentrate, Elvira, and try to keep still.
Can't. Do you see anyone else now?
Oh, no, madam.
She's lying.
Oh, madam.
They always do. Where now?
She can see that.
Probably not very clearly, but
Let
now.
me go. I haven't done nothing, nor seen nobody. Let me go back to bed, please, sir.
Who's Madame Arcati?
Oh, I haven't done nothing wrong.
Look here, child. Here, this is my finger. Have you ever seen such a long finger? Look. Now it's on the right. Now it's on the left. Backwards and forwards it goes.
They're gone. They've really gone.
Yes. I think we've really done it this time.
You'd better wake her up, hadn't you? She might bring them back again.
Wake up, child.
Good heavens. Where am
It's
I?
all right, Edith. You can go back to bed now.
I was in bed. How did I get down here?
I rang the bell and you answered it. Did not have my coffee.
Did I drop off? Did Baker's my concussion again? Oh, dear.
Off you go. Thank you very much. Oh, it's all, sir. And thank you very much indeed.
Oh, sir. Whatever for? Oh, sir.
What on earth did she mean by that?
Ooh, what a night. I'm about ready to drop in my tracks. Oh.
Would you like to stay the night? There's a spare room, you know.
No, thank you.
I'm deeply grateful, Madame Arcati. I don't know what arrangements you generally make, but I trust you'll send in your account in due course.
Oh, good heavens, Mr. Condomine, how could you dream of such a thing?
But really, I feel that all those trances...
I enjoy them, Mr. Condomine, thoroughly.
Perhaps you'd be giving the pleasure of lunching with me one day soon.
When you come back,
Come back.
take my advice, Mr. Condomine, and go away immediately.
Madame Arcati, you don't...
This must be a very unhappy house for you, Mr. Condomine. There are memories both grave and gay in every corner. There are also
Also what?
There are more things in heaven and earth. Just go. Pack your things and go at once.
I wonder... I shall follow your advice, Madame Arcati. Thank you.
Well, good night, Mr. Condomine. It's been fascinating, from first to last. Fascinating.
Yes, of course. Goodbye.
Good night.
Thank you again. Ruth, Elvira, are you here? Ruth, Elvira, I know damn well you're here. I just wanted to tell you that I'm going away. I'm going a long way away, somewhere where you won't be able to follow me. Despite what Elvira said, I do believe that spirits can travel over water. Is that quite clear, my darling? You said in one of your more acid moments, Ruth, that I've been hag-ridden all my life. How right you were. But I'm free now, and I should like to take this farewell opportunity of saying that I'm enjoying myself immensely. I thought so. You were very silly, Elvira, to imagine that I didn't know all about you and Captain Bracelet. I did. But what you didn't know is that I was extremely attached to Paula Westlake at the time. I was reasonably faithful to you, Ruth, but you were growing increasingly domineering, you know. There's nothing more off-putting than that, is there? Goodbye again. I expect we're bound to meet again one day soon, but until we do, I'm going to enjoy myself as I've never enjoyed myself before. Think kindly of me and send out good thoughts. Nice work, Ruth. Get Elvira to help you. Persevere. Goodbye, my loves. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Ruth!
Ah.